welcome back to another video on our channel Unboxing Perspectives. I am Kanika and I am here again with another video where we are going to talk about various mythological books written by author Priyanka Bhuyan. So if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, do not forget to click on the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so that you are notified with every new book that we are reading, every book review that we are bringing to you, and every new talk and thought of the author that you so dearly love about. The author with whom we are going to interact today is Priyanka Bhuyan, and she is the author of 4 books till date. One, the first book being the short collection of short stories. Second, third and fourth being the books from the epic Mahabharata and containing the story of 3 most influencing people in Mahabharata, but they are not much mentioned about in the epic, but yeah, they have a huge influence over the war that we are talking about. तो हम इन 3 लोगों की जो हम आज बात करने वाले हैं मैम के साथ इस डिस्कशन में, उसमें हम जो बात करेंगे उसमें पहली किताब है जो कि सुभद्रा कृष्ण सिस्टर पे लिखी गई है. नेम ऑफ बुक इज कुरु विमेन, Krishna's sister Subhadra. Then the second is Duryodhan's wife, which we do not know much about, and the third one is Pandu's other queen Madri. So as you can see, all the concept of all these 3 books are based upon the women, which are very less talked about, but as we know, all 3 of them has a huge impact on the last war. So talking about the author, Priyanka Bhuyan, she is a traveler by heart and is a soul wanderer and also an equestrian, which is commonly known as a horse riding occupation. So she loves horse riding and also works as corporate communication professional with NTPC. She hails from the green city of Guwahati and she is a wonderful author, I can assure you that. I have read 3 books from her, all based upon mythology because of my interest. That is Pandu's Other Queen was the first book that I read from her, and I assure you that it was a wonderful read. And after that I read Duryodhan's wife, that is a story about Bhanumati. So Bhanumati is not a big discussed character, but she plays an important role and shows us that Duryodhan also had a side which was known only to his wife and kids. So not everyone is just black in character. There is something good in them, which is highlighted in this book, that no, his deeds were punishable. Of course, his deeds were not to be forgiven, but yet he was a person with a heart and he loved his wife as well as his children, and he knew what he was fighting for and what were the consequences of his actions. So that is what is highlighted in the second book. And talking about the third book is Krishna's sister Subhadra. She is a person who suffered the most, I guess, because she was Arjun's wife, living away in 13 years of exile. Then she lost her son in such painful manner, and at the end, when everyone went away for the heavens and when the dynasty was completely destroyed, it was her who was leading her way in the entire world and welcoming every move from God. So that was the 3 books that we're talking about in the video today. So first thing first, I would like to welcome author Priyanka in our session today. So welcome ma'am to our session.
So I welcome you with all my heart, and thank you so much for giving your time to discuss your books with us on this channel. We welcome you to the channel.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
So as I told you earlier, what we are discussing today are the 3 books which are written from very minor characters in Mahabharata, but those have a huge impact on it, and the story is impacted by one way or another from all these 3 books. I would like to ask you that you chose the 3 women characters, like those are not much talked about. They are maybe Duryodhan's queen, who I don't think has any major mention in any of the epics. Then Subhadra, she holds a great role, being Arjun's wife, but not as Subhadra. And then there is Queen Madri. So what made you choose these 3 characters?
Okay, so to answer you, as we all know, our heritage or our country is a treasure trove of lot of stories, right? And Mahabharata and Ramayana are the 2 main epics, and it is on record that Mahabharata is the longest epic ever to exist in this planet, right? And it has got all the, what should I say, elements: politics, strategy, love, obsession, dedication, dutifulness, everything. So, Vedvyas Mahabharat is very big, very concise, and not accessible to all the people. Plus, as you know, the ancient books are written in Sanskrit, more so difficult for the common people. When I was thinking about writing, all the primary characters like Draupadi, Gandhari, even Kunti, they have been attempted by and written and portrayed by many authors, you know.
Right.
So I guess the readers of this country or anywhere else, they have got their hands on fair share of their, you know, if they wish to know about them. But I first started off with Krishna's sister, which is a book 1. So I was very intrigued by this fact that here is a lady who is the wife of a major Pandava and also the sister of a god, and she herself is being worshipped, you know, in one of the
Right.
4 major dharms of Hinduism.
Yeah.
That's in
Right.
Jagannath Puri. And
Jagannath.
yet nobody as on date ever thought to write about her, or even not only in books but also in serial, anywhere else. She was never given that space and time or that privilege. But I found her life story very inspiring, and not to forget the fact that the entire throne of Hastinapur, for which it was being the entire war, you know, it came and fought upon, all for that throne. So, you know, what happened after Mahabharata, neither Draupadi's sons or Kauravas or anybody else could actually exist to claim that throne. So,
Right.
what happened to the Kuru dynasty? What happened? Who led the Kuru dynasty? And as we all know, what happened to the Pandavas, how they left for the heavens and everything else. So what happened? It was her dynasty that finally led the path of that, you know, kingdom. And she herself was a regent. So all these factors actually inspired me that, yes, why not write about such characters who have never been attempted before? Why can't we get to know about them, give them a platform, give them a voice? And I hope so that their story can inspire the youth of today, and also, you know, even not only youth, even me also, when we face challenges of life, it's not that very different, right? So maybe we all can gain some inspiration from them and be inspired, and that is the way we should lead life. So yeah, that was it.
Yeah, so you chose basic three major women characters rather than going for some hidden male characters. So is there something like you want to go for these specific characters?
Something specific means like you see all my characters, the main glitch point was it was never written before. That was the first point.
Right.
When
Okay.
they Subhadra, but yes, the other important point is they were never written before, but they had something unique and special in all of them. You know,
Right.
With Bhanumati, if you have read my book, you must have come to know that we are speaking all about gender equality. We are talking about being equal. Bhanumati at that age, you know, Duryodhan was famous for, you know, mace fighting and wrestling. So Bhanumati was that pro, you know, in wrestling. There is record that she has defeated Duryodhan in the art of wrestling.
Art of wrestling, right.
Her name herself signified the one who is Bhanu is sun, the one who withheld the brilliance of the sun. And through Bhanumati, you know, we get to see the love story of Duryodhana, and it's a beautiful love story. You know, I think it was overshadowed, but not many people would know, or not many readers would know, that Duryodhana, although being a Kaurava, he had only one wife. Although for political reason, for strategic reasons, there was every reason to get another queen in place, but he never married anybody else. So, you know, there is also a very important facet which you read in my book, which will change your entire perspective of Mahabharata, that this entire battle which was being fought and done, that been with, actually Duryodhana, maybe he knew the outcome of it long before, and if he knew, why did he go ahead with the war? And regarding Pandu's other queen, I think that is an off-spin of the main series, because her life was very short. But I don't want to portray my characters only as black and white characters. I believe they're very human. Now, Subhadra was considered demigoddess, okay? But Bhanumati and Madri were not demigoddess. They're human beings, like you and me. So naturally, they had flaws in them. They felt the same, like with Madri, although being from a royal bloodline. So when you're from a royal bloodline, you carry all those things with you, like you carry an attitude with you, you carry a go-getting type of, then there is a fight of the position. And of course, she herself was flawed in her love. She went all out for it. and which finally led to the death of Pandu. So I didn't want to portray her as a very black and white character. I portrayed her what she was actually. I just went behind to emote the emotions, but the characters were already there. Yes.
Yeah, so I have read both the books, like for Pandu's Other Queen as well as Duryodhan's Wife, and I appreciated that is amazingly written because it showed us that Duryodhan has also a two side. That it is very easily portraying that every coin has a two side. I mean, we know the one side which was there, which was told to us through epics, and which was important for the story of Mahabharata, but we never knew about the story of Duryodhan, which is known only to his wife. So that is something that you will find very refreshing and new in this book. And as for the Madri, I love that thing that she is actually a grey character. She was somewhere responsible, and there was some jealousy shown, which shows Kunti in bad light, whereas it is not such thing in when we go for the epic itself. So there are some things that a person is never good for everyone. We cannot be good for everyone. That there is a negative in someone's heart for us. So we might be good for some people, we might be good from one angle, but not from every angle. So that is something I loved in both these books. I have read these books, and that is very beautifully portrayed in both of them. So what is the research that you did before writing all these three books? Because they are all based on the same epic, characters from the same epic. So what is the research that you do?
I'll come to that. So you see, you must have seen that nowadays, all this genre of mythology, basically writers, there are two categories. One is fictionalized and one is non-fictional. Many writers, although I must give them, they write on the stories, but they give their own twist to it. Okay, they the characters from the epic, but then they have their own plot and story around it.
Correct.
So regarding the basic research was, of course, the Mahabharata. But then you also have to rely on something else. Why? Because I also read the other version. The most favorite one was C.R. Rajgopalachari's Mahabharata. I think he did an amazing job. And the way, the beauty of his writing was the way he emoted. It was translated into so many languages. And every language carried the same portrait and same emotion. So that he did a wonderful job. And in Bhanumati, if I speak out, Bhanumati had reference to Mahabharata in only 2 chapters. One being during the Swayamvar, the other was that too in a third party way, and the other one was 3 parv after the war and the last final closure. But you must also understand that India, how our stories being passed on. There is one is called written word and other is called spoken. That is a Shruti. Okay. Right. Even the very powerful Gayatri mantra was never meant to be written. It was passed down through the year. Even now in Brahmins, they have this ritual thread ceremony, and the mantra is spoken in the year. Now we have these cassettes playing everywhere. So regarding Subhadra also, like how she was worshipped in Jagannath. So if you go to Puri Jagannath and you get to interact with people, just don't go. It's my request to people, just don't go and visit the sites, whether it's a heritage site or religious site, just for the sake of going and visiting and do matha teko. Try to get to know the history behind it. Because they have withstood the test of time. They are architectural wonders, no doubt. And there is wonderful. Even if you get to witness many folk tales and folk legends which are passed down locally among people. They are like local folk legends. So there are a lot of folk legends regarding Devi Subhadra and Jagannathji in Puri, which I took reference to. Then regarding Duryodhan and his wife, like 2, 3, although it was a very challenge about writing on Bhanumati more, but then that is also like in down south, there are certain references made to them in different, and then Mahabharata has also got different versions. Some of them are written down south by South Indian seers. So that I have also taken reference. But the main crux was the Ved-Vyas Mahabharata. The only thing which I did was, which was challenging itself, was to put more emotions into it and to bring the humanistic character out of it. Yes.
Right, because I feel that Bhanumati is the most least mentioned character that you picked up for this book. So that must be really challenging to bring out a character we don't know much about. So when we are talking about traveling in interesting places, what is something that you enjoy during your pastime, like other than writing and you are working, but we have some hobby that we can have. What is your favorite pastime, just to know you as a person?
Yeah, so you see, I tell my readers, so when you write about queens, you live like one.
Yeah. So true.
You could have made out from me. Yes, I'm a very big travel buff. I really love to travel, and not only sightseeing, but I really love to soak in the local cuisine, the local food, get to know, live like a local, among the people. I think that's the best, whenever I feel low. I hope to travel more, but I'm not getting the opportunity. And
Right.
mainly due to COVID also. Yeah, so everybody's travel bags were like stopped. But apart from traveling and writing, hobby, if you say, I'm very passionate equestrian sport, that is horse riding in common language. So I absolutely love animals. So I love horse riding. It's a part
Wow.
of my character or part of my life, you can say. And
That's so
yeah,
amazing. That's a very
I
different
can
hobby I have heard
about
about.
it. Yeah, it is, but it's a unique hobby. But the reason is that I started very late. I had always a passion for learning it, but then I didn't get the opportunity. But when I did get the opportunity, even I didn't bother about this age factor thing. I love listening to music. You will always see with my Bluetooth. Sometimes I get a spank from my boss. Yeah, people are saying something to my back and my Bluetooth. But I love listening to music even when I'm working. And dance, yes, I do love dance also, but I don't get the time to do that much because of my work assignments and all.
Right.
So yes, and I always love, the most important thing is I love learning new things, anything. I like
So
the constant process of learning.
So when we are talking
Yeah.
about these things, how do you identify yourself as an author? I mean, are you going to try just mythology, or you are thinking of diversifying into some other genres, or you have some another story, you are bringing up a new book or something like that?
See, I had written a collection of short stories. Okay, that was like a very novelist writing before even the Chronicles of Kuru Woman came out.
Yeah.
And that was basically based in Assam. But when you're writing, I don't find, even if you have to write, you might need the inspiration to write about something.
Correct.
And the passion to write about something. Writing books never for money, except the very big shots and everything. So any passion is never for money or fame. You do it for the simple joy of doing it. So, writing as of now, I may change the flow, like Kurus. I was writing with the Kurus. I'm thinking of writing my next series maybe on demigods, not gods, but demigods. Yeah, but that is still in my thinking process. I'm just contemplating and I'm thinking how I should put it, because writing on demigods and gods or something is different field altogether. Then you also have to bring in elements of somewhere down the line, you will bring in elements of occult and spiritualism. Yeah, occult and spiritualism, because like supposedly I'll tell you, if I'm going to write a book on Devi Kamakha, okay, so Devi Kamakha is like, you take the name anywhere in India, the one thing which will resonate automatically with people is Tantra, because she's a state of Tantricism. So, it's also a challenge that how you can, I'm still continuing how you can bring a balance about the elements, because I don't want to go into the mumbo jumbo of it. But at the same time, how do you want the people to know about the story about it? So, as of now, yes, mythology only, because mythology comes from myth. So there is so many myths to be broken and make it more human.
So it's like we are having a story. What I always say in my talks, I always say that we have a story at every band in India. In every street, we have a different version of story. We have different themes, and we have different characters. So I guess mythology is something which attracts me because of this reason, because there is a different perspective to it with every person and every author. And so there is a lot to explore. So what exactly inspires you to write these characters? Is there some favorite author or some favorite story or something from your childhood that made you think like, yes, I will go and write in this particular genre?
See, if it is about writing, then you should thank my mom, because she was after me my entire life.
Okay.
She maybe noticed that creativity. And she, I'm basically from Assam, and people in the northeast or eastern part of India, you must observe you have a matriarchal setup. So there the females are generally very highly empowered, even if you're from village, which is a good quality. But there, बच्चों को अकेले नहीं बैठने देते. You are never meant to sit idle. Okay, you must have some passion apart from his studies. So she noticed this creativity, and she was after me hell bent ever since my school days, that you must write, you must contribute to newspapers, you must wear a city. So I started doing freelancing. for newspapers. Then I started doing travel blogs. I have a travel blog because
that's
traveling,
amazing.
whenever you come back from a trip, it's good about sharing it with the people, right? At that point, there was only Facebook and all, no Insta and all. But if you're speaking why mythology and only writing is that way, it was inbred in me ever since my childhood. And to become a writer, you need to become a reader yourself first.
Right.
So I'm a voracious book reader. I have read everything from Mills and Boons to Laker. I have read all topics, Dan Brown. I love mythology of other, the Egyptian, Greek mythology. Those also I've read. And I find it very intriguing and so inspiring. So, why mythology? Someday maybe I'll also, because I want the people of our country or our readers to be inspired. We know so much about Egyptian and Greek, and they are portrayed in films and theaters and everywhere. But about our own past, very few people know. Like I'll tell you, I'll share you a snippet. So when Pandu, other queen, was being in the editing phase, so apart from, because that was my own venture, it was a off-spin, and I was doing things on my own self because I didn't want to sit idle, but I wanted to finish off something very short. So I gave it to a professional editor, and she has got an editing agency, and she was going through the book, and she just told me that there are mistakes. So I was expecting it must be grammatical mistake for obvious reasons. Then she told me, no, this Madra was wrong spelling. So I was confused. How is it wrong? So you are saying that Madri is from Madras, so Madras, that's what you're meaning. So I corrected her, no, it's not Madras. There is no S in it. It's Madra. And Madra is somewhere at that point, northwestern, beyond the Himalayas. It was very cold, that type of country. Madhya Pradesh was there. That's why she was named Madri. So you can understand somebody who's they also don't know what is Madra and what is Madras. So they were thinking on that lines only. And you must understand the word mythology comes from the word myth. Okay, so that is the reason many people say, you must have heard, okay, fine, this cannot happen. Like you must have heard people saying, or people do still believe that the Mahabharata war, the astras which were being used, that's a different region altogether. That, okay, how is it possible that a nuclear weapon, just like they can use it, or was it devastation to that level? But of course, Vedya's Mahabharata has given us exact figures of the people that had expired or died at that time. Why it was necessary? Because the human population was also exploding beyond level, and also that all those astras, is actually existing, because that had specific formulas and codes. It was not like what you see in the serial. So that is a very big topic that I want the people of today, instead of looking idhar udhar and because life is so stressful, right? Everybody is so stressful nowadays, career issues, relationship issues, and I don't think that there is a single day where you're not. I'm sure you must also be having a serious issue even now. So, instead of bhatkao and going to idhar udhar, and then, there is so many schools. I'm not saying you shouldn't go and shouldn't follow, but rather than going to be inspired. So when you draw inspiration, why to be inspired from the West when you have your own thing in your hand? The only difference is that the perspective should be made available to them. And, I want even the man folk, why I'm writing about women. Nothing against a man. Yeah, Arjun, Pandavas are all very powerful characters, and I am sure that there are many Indian authors who have written about them very beautifully. But even if one man is inspired, then you learn to respect women in the real sense. So once you learn to respect women, I think half of the problems in a society will go away.
Actually. Yeah, so I also feel that in these epics, like before the advent of Muslim rulers in India, we had a huge respect for women in our country, especially from the invasions of Muslim and English, of course. Both of them, before that, in all our epics, may it be Ramayana, may it be Mahabharata, may it be our own ancient history before the invasions. We always had a matriarchal society. Like we can say that here in this epic Mahabharata, we always have Ambalika and Bhishma mother, who plays a very pivotal role in the entire epic.
Medieval time, yes, I do agree with you. Because you see, when the invasions happened, it was not dominating movement, it was dominating knowledge. And unfortunately, today's youth, I have seen, it is good to be westernized and modernized. No doubt. I'm not saying that you should be Indianized by your hair and clothes. There's no harm in wearing jeans and flaunting. Do whatever, but be clear about your choices that you make. Okay, and the past was far more modern, unfortunately, than compared to
yeah, correct. I also feel that way. So if someone is saying that you're modernizing, I think we should go back to our roots to see that how a woman is empowered in the society.
You are allowed to choose a groom for yourself. Okay, doesn't matter whether the groom, you are choosing your own groom.
Any message for our viewers or the aspiring writers or the readers who read your books?
Readers के लिए तो I have only one. Please read my books and let me know if you like it. Let me know if you like it.
Of course, I think they will surely like it.
I hope so. Even if I'm very much motivated, even if one person likes it, when I get DMs and messages, I really feel very motivated, and that keeps me going, in life struggle and all.
Right.
But for aspiring writers, I'll just say those who are already written, that's a different story. But for aspiring writers, never ever give up your passion, because writers face a challenge in approaching publishing house, then going through the editing phase, then manuscript selection. Then nowadays it has become very professional, so they all ask give a bio. Not everybody is very pro. Everything you learn at every phase, so it doesn't matter how many copies you sold, doesn't matter which publishing you. Well, most importantly, you should believe your characters and you should believe your writing yourself. Read your book as a reader yourself before being putting off to other people. Even my own book, even though editors check it, I myself read my book and reread my book 3 to 4 times, the entire book. So that, then all you get is, okay, this is not right, this is not, maybe it should have been put in a better sense. And then you get an upper hand with editors, so you can put your point forward to the editorial team. This is this is that. So yeah, so don't write for the sake of okay, I'm going to write a bestseller and this is going to. Don't go with any expectations. Write for the sake of joy of writing, telling stories, whatever genre it is, doesn't matter. It has to be mythology. It can be romance. It can be horror. It can be anything. So do it for them, and for the readers, I think. All I'm saying is that good, you all have our own choice to love books, which you love. But, book reading is a very wonderful, wonderful hobby. Especially, God, I still prefer the days to have a book by the bedside. It's a wonderful hobby. And if you speak about mythology, I believe the more you know about your past, be inspired and be, proud about your heritage. That's it.
Right. So that was such a wonderful session, and actually it was very wonderful to know you as a person, and that's why I think I relate to your books, and you are such a wonderful author because you work on them, and you actually brought out the 3 most wonderful epics from Mahabharata, and the 3 characters which were very less talked about, and of course the 4th book that you had of the short stories. So thank you so much for giving us your time and being with us on this channel and having this session talk. I hope people will read those books, and for those who are viewing us, I will provide you the link to all these books in the description box below. Go buy them and read them, and I assure you, you won't be thinking twice about your decision after you read them. And they're very short reads. I mean, the book with Madri, her life was short span and they are very quick reads, and you won't feel anything like bored. So I hope it's a quick read for you. We will see you back in the next session. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us in today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I hope all the people who are going through this session and seeing us live. So thank you all for listening to us. And I would look forward if you all do pick up my books or you have gone through my books. For me, every feedback I personally go through. People think I don't go through the Amazon reviews. I go through everyone.
And that's
so thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, and so everyone, as you heard, please drop down your comments in the comment section, as well as we are dropping down Insta ID and other IDs of ma'am in the description box. If you have any query, if you have any feedback, you can reach out to us or ma'am on the social media handles, and we will see you again in the next video. Till then, keep reading, stay healthy. Bye-bye.